Hey, my name is Roman, aka Young BizWiz, and this is a little bit different of a video because I'm deciding to try to compact more information into one, at least for this one, because I haven't had a lot of time to be making videos recently, being working full time. And other than that, I think it's very interesting to try to add more value to you guys when you guys watch my videos. So I just wanted to try this topic out, add multiple headlines, multiple news bits and pieces of information surrounding everything. And so once again, this is going to be a more in-depth video on what's been happening in the last few days with Trump, the tariffs, and whatnot. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. First things first, if you don't know anything about the Trump tariffs, he recently, after fighting with China, Canada, and Mexico, he went to fight the EU, which turned out to be taxing and tariffing the whole world actually. And through that, he has really gone strong against China. China's gone really strong against Trump. Countries have decided to start talking to Trump and want to negotiate tariffs after these big things. And through that, he's decided to put a pause on the tariffs. And because of that, we have a lot of bit of negotiating going on. Recently China has been talking about stopping exports of their rare minerals to other countries, and this has affected, not just America, but also other countries, including Australia. And people are trying to figure out, hey, what should we do? As a global leader of your own country or whatnot, they're trying to figure out what they should do in retaliation, because apparently these minerals are very important. They're rare, they sell a lot, and they're worth a lot. And countries need them for various reasons. Australia has implemented trying to invest more in their mining, so they're trying to spend more money on their mining and try to mine these resources themselves. Other countries are trying to look for deals, trying to deal with other countries and try to buy the minerals themselves. And actually what ended up happening was Trump has ended up signing with Zelensky with Ukraine, which was a mineral deal from months ago, but they've officially, signed it now. And whether or not this is due to them meeting up once again because of Pope Francis' death recently, if you don't know, Pope Francis died, and through that, a lot of global leaders have been meeting with each other to prepare to visit for the funeral. But not only that, probably talk about business. It's kind of been crazy what's been going on recently, so it doesn't not help to get a jump on your opponents or other countries and try to become, a more sustainable country with what's all been going on with the tariffs recently. And so once again, Trump has signed a deal with Zelensky for minerals in Ukraine, and I think that's pretty cool. It seems that we're making some more progress. As you know, there is about over 70 countries that want to make a deal about the tariffs with Trump and everything. So being able to show that a deal has gone through is pretty cool, especially with recently Trump saying that there's been works with China deals with the tariffs, and China outright saying no, this is not true, these are lies, and we don't know what they're talking about. Because it turns out that in the last few days, China has exempted some US products from their tariff, which once again, if you don't know about that situation, the tariffs were going up from 25% to 40% to 80% to 95% to 125% to 145%. And that is with China having a 125% tariff on America, with America retaliating once again with a 145% tariff on China. And with them being talks of a deal going on and then actually being told that there aren't being talks of the deal being told, it's kind of interesting to see that this actually does have some credibility and there is actually talks going on about China and America, and that there's actually going to be a trade deal happening maybe soon. And does this show that there's progress in the world? Let me know in the comments below. Once again, I think it's interesting to show that it's all not just a ruse. There's actually progress being made, and it seems that the tariffs, whether they hurt us in the short term, and I mean hurt people in the short term is a very small figure. UPS is actually letting go about 20,000 jobs because of the decline of products being shipped and packaged and everything. So it's a lot of things are going to happen, a lot of changes are going to happen, and if you're at the forefront of these things and you're able to navigate through the whole tariff situation and come out on top, you might actually come out making a killing with a lot of your competitors suffering badly, because once again, with change, people fall out and new people come into business. And so yeah, a lot of things have been happening with, once again, companies, countries, tariffs. And I still think that people, as the consumer, are going to lose out in the short term. Things are going to get more expensive. But I just think that's how the market works. Things always have their ups and downs, and whether they're affected because of progress and because of, how do I say this? Because of things that are implemented physically by a human instead of more of just like a market thing going up and down, then it seems not as fair, but it just seems to make more sense as things happen. And hopefully through all of this, America does eventually start paying less for goods, and America can somewhat salvage their, what is it, $1 trillion trade deficit with the world, with 300 billion of it being from China. So it's very interesting, and I just want to say that, yeah, times are changing, and it seems that there's progress being made. A few months ago, people were doubting everything about what was going on, and if there was ever going to be like a, how do I explain this, a solution or anything good that comes out of this whole situation, because it just kind of seemed like a dictatorship, you know, for what was going on. And overall, as of right now at least, it seems that progress is being made in the right direction. Some people are taking sacrifices. Job market doesn't seem the best, and you know, economy is quote unquote shrinking, but these are world topics that I think are very interesting to talk about and have to be discussed, because if you don't see what the future, or don't talk about what the future of the country you're living in or what's going on a global scale, then you're kind of being left behind. And if you're not, you know, financially ready or preparing yourself for what's to come in the future, then you might get caught up in some bad shit, and you know, you might end up with, for example, a country with high inflation rates that you weren't prepared to hedge against, and that just ends up wiping out your whole monetary system, bank account, and everything you spend money for just goes, disappears, gone. But yeah, other than that, there has been two other things that I wanted to talk about. One of them being Toyota. I know the car market right now is kind of going crazy with the tariffs, but once again, with tariffs going on and suppliers becoming more and more expensive to buy from, it seems that Toyota has wanted to spend about 6 trillion yen. Yes, you heard me, trillion. 6 trillion yen is not as much money as you think, but it's still quite a substantial amount of US dollars, being about $40 billion to buy out a supplier of one of their car companies. So they want to buy a supplier for about $40 billion, and this probably can be helped influenced because of the fact that, you know, they make billions and billions of dollars worth of cars, and being able to buy your supplier probably gives you a better efficiency level of being able to control how the products are being made to you, and possibly being made to other car companies. But I don't think that the supplier specifically is actually supplying other car companies, because the name of the supplier is, funny enough, actually named Toyota Industry Corp, which, I mean, whether Toyota is selling to other companies and whatnot, I'm not entirely sure. But I think it's interesting to actually have a supplier named Toyota and then trying to buy out that said supplier from Toyota. Also, while this is all going on, IBM, yes, IBM. I'm looking at the weather right now while I'm making this video. But yeah, IBM has decided to invest in the US market. They're a big tech company. They make technology advances, and they're very well known in America. They've decided to spend about $150 billion in investing in manufacturing and whatnot through America. And this is one of the big steps that I think I've seen a company make with all the tariffs and Trump trying to have manufacturing done in America. I wouldn't say keep in America, because there's not really that much manufacturing being done in America. However, I would like to say that with bigger companies starting to take the risk and taking the opportunity, such as Honda trying to build a manufacturer in Indiana instead of Mexico for cars and whatnot, it seems that companies are starting to take their action game plan and try to make something work. Hopefully being able to cut on their taxes, be able to cut on business expenses that they normally wouldn't be able to if they were to normally make their company in America. But now with the opportunity, with all the tariffs and all the things that are going on, and probably legal loopholes and whatnot, it seems that companies are actually deciding to try out, you know, staying in America because of how high the tariffs are right now. And in my opinion, I think that might be a win in my book, or in Trump's book, or in America's book, because with more manufacturing, that means more jobs, and more jobs means more money in our economy and less reliant on the consumer kind of mentality that America has, because America really is a consumer country. We're not really a producer, more of a consumer, and countries have been selling to us as such and have been tariffing our products and making our, for example, if you get an imported car into another country that normally would cost $300,000 in America, $200,000, it might end up costing $700,000 in that country, $800,000. It's a crazy markup, and I'm hoping that the tariffs actually do end up becoming more favorable for the American consumer. I like to mention that officially Canada's Prime Minister is Mark Carney, and the reason he was able to become president was in fact because he is going against Trump completely and has been able to one-sidedly swing by going against Trump and everything that's been going on recently. He was able to swing over a 20% voter change in about a year, with the Republican Party having a 20% lead before Trudeau resigning and before Mark Carney going against Trump's policies. I find it pretty interesting. Over a 20% swing is really incredible, but I don't seem to not... How do I explain this? I can see why that would work, because Trump is such a volatile figure that you can actually swing the votes back into your favor. But from what I understood, Trudeau was running the country into the ground, and Mark Carney was his like little henchman, you can kind of say, his second man, his mini Justin Trudeau. So I just find it very interesting that he's able to swing the voters back into his favor using Trump. I respect it completely, and I think it's pretty cool. But I do think, once again, that Canada relies more on America than America does rely on Canada. No matter what numbers you jumble and figure up in here and there, you know, with Canada selling 5 times more energy to America than America does to Canada, still, America has 10 times the amount of people that live in America than they do in Canada, with Canada's population being just about 30 million people. But what do you guys think about the whole situation? Do you think Trump's tariffs are actually working out in our favor, or is he just going against the grain and it's just gonna absolutely rip us apart? Let me know what you think in the comments below. My name is Roman, aka Young Business, and have an awesome day. Take care. Peace.